Hello and welcome to the channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please comment below if you've had any thoughts and please share with your friends. If you've not been on the channel before, what we do here is we take a little bit of a deep dive on what's going on in the music industry, share some thoughts, take the piss a little bit, try and analyse who's doing what and why, and basically try and have a little bit of fun with it because the music industry is far too boring these days. And I am talking about you. Yes, you're boring. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the much maligned sort of anti-hero presence that is Kneecap. So in case you've been living under a rock in 2025, Kneecap are all over the news, right? So without going into their kind of full backstory, I'll give you a bit of an intro into who Kneecap are in case you've never heard of them. Kneecap are a Northern Irish rap trio who kind of popped up maybe a couple of years ago, and they're very much known for their highly kind of Republican stance. Very political with the way that they approach their music, and they very much fall on one side of a divide in Northern Ireland. And if you don't know your history on that, I'm probably not the person to tell you, but let's just put it like this. It got a bit tasty, and it is still tasty right now. But enough of the history lesson. I'm not a historian, but what they do is they create and perform music which is very Republican, very anti-British, or certainly very anti-British government. One of their songs is actually called Get Your Brits Out. They also created a film which has Michael Fassbender in it. I must admit I haven't seen the film. From what I've been told, it's really, really good. They're also very much on the side of kind of Free Palestine and that kind of movement. Very anti-Israel, very anti-genocide, right? And very outspoken in being that. And that has kind of recently come to a head as their political stance has kind of led to them being, kind of mentioned in Parliament. A lot of prominent MPs have kind of spoke out against them. This was in part because one of them said in a live gig to kill your local MP. So this is an idea of the kind of band they are, highly kind of politically charged, right? And that's a big part of what they do. It's a big part of how they market. And as a result, they are all over the news cycle, right? So just looking through some of the press they're getting right now. And I've got to say, it's interesting how different publications portray it in different ways. Kneecap say that terror charge is part of a witch hunt to prevent Glastonbury. The Telegraph says provocateurs goad everyone from Israelis to Badenoch as they mock their terror charge. The Spectator headlines with Kneecap are not rebels. So they're everywhere, right? The publicity that they're getting is publicity you can't buy, right? Their name is on a lot of people's lips. So much so that I dare say a lot of people don't actually know what Kneecap's music is like. They don't really know loads about them as a musician, but they know what they stand for and they know what they are. They know what their identity is. They know what their brand is. So this is why I think that Kneecap are one of the best marketed bands of the past kind of 10 years. They have a fierce identity, a fierce political identity that divides opinion, and they stick to it. And not only do they stick to it, they deliberately push away anything that is anti their identity. Be that the British government, be that the powers that be generally, be that people that try to silence them, right? And this has become more important than their actual music itself. What they've done is harnessed their niche, they've controlled their niche, and now everything they do is created to solely appeal that particular niche and that particular subset of society. It's a younger demographic, it's people who are politically aware, and it's nothing new. We see it across everything anymore, and the marketing theory is known as symbolic alignment. And I'll tell you through how this works, right? It's genius. How this works is you fiercely align yourself with a particular cause, stance, movement, or ideology, right? In this case with Kneecap, it started off as sort of Republican Irish, but now it's moved a lot more towards the Palestinian genocide, right? So they've aligned themselves very, very fiercely with that cause. And what that means is that any attempt to kind of silence them, even if it is through legitimate criminal causes, or even as far as kind of festivals not booking them, whether it's because of their music or whether their political stance, it doesn't matter, because that will be perceived as a statement against the cause rather than a statement against Kneecap themselves, right? Like if you're Glastonbury or you're, I don't know, whatever big festival, right? Not booking Kneecap now almost comes across as it's almost like you support genocide. Like, that's how well they've aligned themselves with that cause. So now any statement against them is a statement against the cause that they're so aligned with. And it means that they're constantly in the news cycle because their cause is constantly in the news cycle. But symbolic alignment isn't new, right? We see it a lot. It's one of the most effective marketing strategies of any artist or any public figure at the moment, right? Now, I'm going to make a comparison, which a lot of you probably won't like, but don't think about the individuals, think about the marketing and the strategy that's happening. But what's happening with Kneecap right now is very similar to what was being done by Andrew Tate. No, you're going to be upset. I understand. You're going to be upset. But just let me explain myself. I'm not saying that they're the same, and I'm not saying that either of them are right or wrong. What I'm saying is the marketing that they're doing is the same. Symbolic alignment. What Andrew Tate did in essence was align his own self-interest, his own kind of business, his own corporation, his own personal brand with the idea of kind of masculinity, young men's mental health, the fact that young men are feeling abandoned in society, all of these things which are kind of legitimate causes. What he did was he aligned himself with that cause and said that he is an advocate for young men and that he is a positive force in that space. What that meant was that a lot of young men latched onto this and saw any attack on Andrew Tate, be that by governments, be that by feminists, be that by whatever cause you want, right, was seen as an attack on young men, which it wasn't a lot of the time. It was an attack on that particular individual, but because he aligned himself symbolically with that cause, whatever attack there was on him, it basically martyred him and it made him even more powerful to that subset of people. Now, apply that same marketing theory to Kneecap and with the genocide in Gaza. Now, obviously, one is far more important than the other, but the same thing is ultimately happening. Now, any kind of statement against Kneecap as an artist or as a band is kind of seen as so horrific a thing to do that nobody dares do it, except the government, but they're the big bad wolf anyway. So this isn't anything new, but symbolic alignment, this is how powerful it can be. If it's done correctly, it can mean that you can become almost beyond criticism. Because if you align yourself with a cause so well, then you, like that cause, become almost beyond criticism. Anyway, bit of a deep one today. And we went on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, this is why I think Kneecap are one of the best marketed bands of the last kind of 10 years or so. Because they've controlled their niche and they've aligned themselves with a cause which is beyond criticism. Anyway, remember to like, share and subscribe. Comment below if you've got any thoughts.